Because it's time to write now.
Right 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 now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right 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 now.
Because it's time to write now.
Right now.
Right now.
Right now.
All right, and we are live. Welcome to another meeting of the Right Now Writers Group. This is our weekly virtual writers group. 75 meetings and counting as we are welcoming you to our 76th one. Essentially, we meet same time, same place, every week, every Wednesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, where we come together with other writers in the community and we chat about that one thing that we all love to do, which is write. Maybe we get some writing in, so make sure you stick around. We'll get a couple sprints in. We'll see just what is on our mind, and we'll do it, just like a real writers group. I put this together to help give you, just a little bit more motivation, so we always have this Wednesday check-in. How is the writing progress treating you so far? I would love to hear. Are you making progress as we're kind of getting into the holidays, and not just the holidays, but the end of the year? So I pose this to you. How are you feeling about the writing this month? Hopefully we're making some progress, or maybe none at all. By the way, welcome. I'm Kaufman, daily writing streamer, fantasy author, and dragon enthusiast. And I am making some great progress with Scarecrow, actually. I've been giving myself a little bit of a breather this past week, but I'm making awesome progress. So that's me. Let's see who we got joining us today. So I'll kick it to everyone's favorite, Chat Soul.
Hey everyone, Chat Soul here. Tonight I'm working on one of my fanfictions, part of the fanfiction series that I've been doing. And hopefully, probably next week, I will start working on Raging Inferno.
Woo, so exciting. So you're like next year. Well, it only took you 10 years to do the first book, or 20 years to do the first book. So I think anything outside of 20 years is probably a win.
Yeah. Let's just not make it 10 years. Let's try to shoot for 5.
Okay, 5 years instead of 10. That sounds like a good goal. Soul said it here. The next book will take less than 5 years to complete. For those of you who are waiting for the compelling, engaging, thrilling finale of the trilogy.
Pirates.
Pirates. I was like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm like, I was about to say One Piece. I'm like, no, that's not right.
Not far off, considering that's a big inspiration.
And of course, we're joined by everyone's favorite, Crazy Root Bear. I'll let you intro yourself, my friend.
Hello, my friends. It's been a while, I know. Things have been wacky, but that's okay. Tonight, I will still be working on my Raziel Chronicles, because lately I have not even touched it, because my mind is just... It does not want to write recently, and it's been really hard to do it, but today I'm going to do it. I'm going to be writing some more in there, and we're just going to have some fun!
Yes, I absolutely love it. And you know what's interesting? This is actually what's on my mind. So the end of the year, there's a lot of craziness. And by the way, I saw a bunch of you guys hopping into the chat. Megan, always good to see you, my friend. LeMay, welcome. Lynn, welcome back. I saw that you've been sick. Hopefully you're recovered and hopefully getting a little bit better. ML, welcome, my friend. So great to see everyone. Francisco, welcome back. So when we think about this time of the year, what usually happens for most people, right? We're thinking about the holidays, the craziness. Everyone's thinking about taking a break. Everyone's thinking about, usually people get sick because that's like flu season is usually during the holidays. So it's actually pretty normal for a lot of people. And then we go through the holidays right into New Year's, right? And then everyone's like, oh, okay, New Year's resolutions for the new year. Sometimes it's hard to be able to set aside time for our writing. And I felt it myself. I have felt it myself. I've been doing so much, even outside of just my writing sprints. You guys know, right? We did Freaky Friday, then going straight into WriteNow A Thon, and everything else we have in the community. I feel it myself where there's days where I'm showing up and I'm like, you know what? I just don't feel like writing today. And I've given myself a little bit of a breather on a few of the days, but even those days where I don't write, I still feel guilty. And I ask myself, why do I feel guilty when I don't write, even though I've done 700 consecutive, at least writing-based streams? And I always ask myself, the guilty feeling comes because I have an expectation within myself that I should write every single day. When I don't meet that expectation, I've created a system of guilt, which actually that's not actually a really good thing, but it's a realization that I have to check in with myself and adjust my expectations within myself. For me, what would be a healthy level of writing expectation? And I would say probably writing for me, probably 4 to 5 times a week. Even though I'm doing the daily writing sprint stream, they're not always writing sprints. But I think for me, 4 to 5 times a week feels powerful. And then if I do more, great. If I do less, being all right with giving myself some flexibility. Has that happened to you guys at all where you feel like when you don't feel like writing, maybe you're really busy with life, maybe it's illness, maybe it's family, work, students, whatever it is. Do you feel like that you start feeling guilt when you don't write and then that just kind of brings you down?
Yeah. Yeah, you have no idea the amount of guilt I feel for not having worked on Raging Inferno for a while. Because, like, I really want to try to publish that in June.
Mm-hmm.
But if I don't get my butt in gear soon, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make that. And it's gonna throw off that release it a year and a week from the last one.
So
I know it's not, like, super important, but... I
mean, it's important to you, right? You've placed that self-importance within you, right?
Mhm.
So then it's like, okay, well, you're not meeting that expectation, guilt. And then what does guilt lead to? Then we just get trapped in the cycle.
Yep.
What about you, Crazy? Did that happen to you at all?
Yeah, especially with last year, I was, and you know very well, I was like on it, man, like
You're pretty
nonstop.
consistent for like months.
Yeah, and yet for some reason this year, it's just no matter how hard I try, no matter how many times I'm like, all right, let's do this. We're gonna do this. We gotta get this. Let's do it. And it's like I'll be like on the SpongeBob episode where he just types the, and it's like, yeah, I did it. And for me, it's just that I do that, and it's just my mind this year just doesn't have that feeling. It's been so difficult to get that feeling back. And it's like, what is going on? And I feel so bad that been 1 minute last year just going nonstop, and now it's like you got all these books yet to write about. What's going on with you, man?
Do you guys think do you guys feel like the disconnect? And if you're here in the writing chat or you're watching on the replay, we would love to hear from you. Do you ever kind of feel that, like, that guilt or that disconnect when you're not writing? But my question that I pose to, and I pose this to myself, but do you guys think it's really the expectations? Do you think that that's why then we start feeling like, okay, well, there's a problem because we have either unrealistic or realistic expectations, but sometimes imbalance with what we're dealing with in life?
I think it's mostly the expectations that we place on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a little bit of both. The expectations and with life itself.
I almost wonder if it's us having to kind of be able to take a step back, or at least just like take it back to just look at the whole picture, right? Maybe on once a month, or maybe once in a season, whatever that is for people, and asking ourselves if we need to check and adjust what our approach to writing actually is. Because there's been points in my life, and I'm sure you guys can probably resonate. There's been points in my life where I literally have not had time to write because I work 80-hour days. I get sick, trying to have a life, trying to spend time with friends, family, trying to date, trying to have a hobby, trying to do all the things. But then there's also been times in my life where I'm working 40 hours a week, and then I just spend a lot of time procrastinating. and there's
Yeah.
times where I could write, but I'm just being lazy.
Yep.
I've experienced both types of those phases. And I think sometimes I have to be able to ask myself honestly, am I too busy because maybe health issues, whatever it is, or am I just being lazy and I need to just follow my new motto, which is if you don't feel like writing, write anyways. I don't know, maybe it's like a reevaluation of
I tried to do that of like, when you don't feel like writing, write anyways, but again, it won't happen for me. And I'm like
Mhm.
you, like I try to I'm also doing the whole, have a life and stuff, but then I also get sick. Like for a great example, I think Thanksgiving was last week, right? But because last Wednesday or whatever day, I went to Thanksgiving with one side of the family, and then I was gonna go the next day on Thursday for
Mhm.
Thanksgiving, but I got sick all day and couldn't go, so I
Hmm.
couldn't do anything. So it's like either the sickness or what happens in life that I just can't do it, or like you said, I procrastinate and go like, all right, we're gonna do it, but then I get lazy.
Hmm. I feel you there. I've been there too many times. And I'm not sure. And I think maybe it's a different reflection for everyone. Because I mean for me, what helped me break that cycle was the writing sprint streams. In After an entire life of writing, because I started writing when I was really young. But like I said, I've gone through periods, months writing consistently, months not writing consistently. When I look back at all these years of writing, I don't think I've ever been so consistent and self accountable as I have been to myself as it pertains to writing these past 2 years. Yeah, because we're coming on almost 2 years. Oh my God, that's crazy. But yeah, and I ask myself why. I'm like, what was the change beyond pushing myself into it, having a different level of responsibilities? And I think that's because I created a system of accountability for myself. And because I figured out how to make all parts of the process fun for myself. And on the days where I haven't felt like writing, I've instead of relying on myself, I've relied on others to find that emotional energy. Because I ask myself, in times where I'm usually lazy, it's why am I lazy? Probably because I'm tired, I've spent X amount of energy doing other things. And then I'm just like, well, I just want to sit back and do nothing, watch TV, game, whatever it is. Um, but the times where I push myself to write, I relied on others' energy and I tried to connect myself to the emotional of what I love about the writing process. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's my running theory of when writers struggle with writing. And of course, exceptions if you're dealing with real life issues, health issues, schoolwork, work, that's a real thing. And that's why the self-reflection has to be real for you. But I think if you don't feel like writing and you're able to figure out a way to or figure out a system, a way, a form, a method to make yourself emotionally connect, not just with the story, but with the writing process itself. I think that in itself is the key. And it's not about like showing up 100% of the time. It's about showing up to try to get yourself through the process, even in the times you fail, right? And I mean, then we go back to what the writing routine is. So I mean, I don't know. That's just something that's worked for me. But I'd love hearing your guys' kind of thoughts on this. I can tell here in the chat. What do we got? Megan was saying it varies and depends on time and stealing a good schedule and pressure at times. And I mean, I could relate with that. There's been years where life changes every year, guys. Like
Mhm.
we're always at different points in every other year. That's the beauty of life. That's one of the things I love about life. Life is always changing. I like change. Sometimes it's a great change. Sometimes it's a not so great change. It's just called rolling with the punches. Um, You know what's interesting though? Something that I took with me, and this must have been a couple years ago. I asked myself, and I always pose this question on the podcast: if you were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, what would you want to leave as a quote behind for the writers of the world? But I always asked myself, if I were to get hit by a bus tomorrow, what would I regret? I would regret not writing. So I've taken that philosophy, and I remind myself of the just the grand life approach, that I want to feel like that I've been able to do as much as I could with the time that I have. It's my hope that I live to the right old age of 80, 90, 100, whatever that age is. Actually, I don't know about 100. That might be hard. But to at least the
Eddie White almost did it.
average lifespan. If I make it to the average lifespan of this generation, I will be very happy with that. But sometimes life is short, right? And I think that's also a reality. It's a smaller ratio depending on where you live in the world. But I think that's also something that I always keep in mind. So I don't know. I think maybe that's something that motivates me as well from a deeper level, because I love writing. It's how it's always been for me.
Now, here's a question for anybody, including myself, myself, and I. How you doing? If, like, let's say you don't feel like writing and stuff like that, you know, but does your mind, even though physically you don't feel like writing and stuff, mentally you still have multiple ideas for the story? Do you still have that going on?
Constantly, and it's very annoying at times.
Yes. Yes.
I have ADHD, so like my brain's always going like 1,000 miles a minute on the average day, maybe 500 on a bad day, and twice all of that on the best days. But even when I'm not writing, yeah, no, my brain is always like, okay, well, you have this story that you're doing. Well, let's see, you're at this part right now. Maybe we could do this. You want to get to this point. How are we going to bridge that? Okay, well, I'm done. I'm tired of writing on this story. Maybe I should switch to one of the other stories, and it goes all over again. And either I'm thinking of the storyline or I'm thinking of the characters in the story. Lately, I've been kind of ping ponging back and forth between a combination of character design and basic plotline for a couple of my stories.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's been like, again, like I've said a lot of infinite amount of times, my mind's already at the end of the book, the last book, but somehow, by some irritating force of events, it has decided to think about doing the last book instead of making it a two-parter, making it a three-parter for reasons only I know, and adding a new character in one of the future books. And it's like, why? You had things planned out, things were going good, you had it all planned. Now all of a sudden you want to add more? Are you crazy? Why? Everything was fine. Why are you touching it? No touchy. No touchy. But it's too late. I've already thought of it and I'm going to do it. And I hate it. I do. But it's like, oh, no, wait. What if this happens and we add this? Yeah. It's like, no. We were just fine. Why are you messing it up? Now I got to figure things out again.
Hey, well, that's some of the fun, though.
Crazy. That kind of makes me think of something. But first, I think Lynn posed a really good differentiation that works for her. Lynn said there's a big difference between not feeling good and not feeling like writing for me. And identifying the difference has helped the guilt a lot.
That definitely makes sense. Because if you're just not wanting to write, well, you might be able to help that. If you're not feeling good, like literally, that might be a little out of your control.
It kind of depends on how someone is in the mind, really.
Mm-hmm.
Up in here, mentally.
Crazy. Something I'm wondering though, because I actually see this happen to writers a lot, and especially because you're working on a very long, lengthy series. Is it possible? And I've dealt with it, and part of the reason I know this is because it's happened to me actually in the past before. Is it possible that you feel partially deterred from writing at points because it's not as maybe it starts feeling like work, but because you have so much to do for this long, lengthy series, and then it starts feeling more like work instead of the creative fun that you are used to in developing the original.
Yeah, actually, I'm not gonna
Maybe
lie
so,
on that one. It
so
does
maybe a little
start to
bit for
feel
you
like
as well.
work.
Hmm.
Yeah, it because like you said, like for example, last year felt smooth. I knew the idea, everything was fine, and now it's like with these new ideas popping up, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to work again. Are you kidding me? And it gets kind of irritating and stuff. And so, yeah, you got a good point. It does feel more like work than more just creative, more on a comfortable note for me, and it just feels more like work. And so, yeah, you're right. It really does.
Crazy. I'm wondering if the key or if the fix to that is balancing your writing time with either starting a new story, or expanding into a short story or novella with different characters in the same universe.
I can actually answer that because I fixed that with myself earlier this year.
Okay.
In one of my fan fictions, which it was, I felt like it was taking freaking forever, and I still haven't written the last 2 chapters. It felt like it was just too much. Just like, okay, it's like almost 30 chapters, and for some reason it was just taking me forever. So it's like, I'm not enjoying this. So I didn't like tell myself, okay, this feels like work, but that's pretty much what it felt like. It felt more like work. So I'm not just like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna do this instead. I'm still gonna work within this universe because it was my fan fictions, but change the characters, change the storyline, go for a different angle, basically, and that helped get me out of it personally.
And I think what works so is because you know yourself as a writer. So you are reconnecting yourself to what you know, the fun part, emotional part of the writing process that you enjoy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, crazy. Maybe that's what you need to do. Maybe not necessarily like that specific approach, but maybe just like taking time to think about what it sounds like you just need to do something different, right? Because
Yeah,
we can only
because,
try bang our head against the wall so many times.
Try doing a
Too.
novella.
Mm-hmm.
well, here's the thing. Here's the kicker picker upper like bounty. Um, I have even started doing, last year, that is, I kind of started doing different books, not even remotely relatable to the original series at all, and yet they've just stayed there untouched and stuff because my mind is like was like saying, okay, we've done enough of this. I want to stick with the original series. It's like it's kind of like if you went to your favorite place and
Mm-hmm.
let's say you stayed there for a week
Mm-hmm.
and you know you got to go home, like let's say Sunday morning or however the trip goes.
Mm-hmm.
But when it gets to that day, it's like I I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. I love it here, man. What the heck is going on? I love it here, and that's how I am. That's how my mind is with the original series. It's like, yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
visited a couple of other brand new books that I somewhat wrote last year because I
Mm-hmm.
was doing that of writing other different books for the time, and then I just stopped doing it because my mind was like that. It's like visiting somebody else on the original series, but then when I tried to like go somewhere else, it eventually got tired of it. It's like, no, I liked the original better because that's where I felt more comfortable with, and that's
Mm-hmm.
where I felt like I was in home away from home kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's where to where my mind is afraid to like step away from it. It's like, no, 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 my bear, my teddy bear, my.
I'm curious, crazy. In those other projects that you started, did you enjoy writing those projects? Like when you were going through them, or was it
Oh
just like
yeah, like one of them was with Penelope, and
that?
she was done with her part. I still hadn't finished my part. It's still not finished. And there was another one I started to write by
You,
myself, and I liked it.
you know
And
what? You know what? Then crazy. I think what it is I think that I think you allowed yourself to explore another type of writing project, but then once you were far enough into it, you started feeling the guilt and the expectations of my core story. If I walk away from it too long, I won't finish it.
exactly,
So
exactly.
maybe what the solution is clearly starting other projects or working on other projects allowed you to get in the writing process. So what if you balance your time and you're like, every time I work on a new story, I start that, but then I also do a little bit on the core story as well.
Hopefully, I can
And I
talk my brain into doing that.
was like, I don't know, and you have to be the type of writer where you can work on do
Yeah,
different projects in a session.
I know,
Um,
and I've always found that the most difficult. Yet I
mhm.
can multitask with things like either like looking at my phone while watching something, texting somebody. But yeah, for story wise, it's like it's hard to like do what either you or Soul does and go like, okay, today I'm gonna write this book. Okay, today I'm gonna write this book, and it's like my mind doesn't like that kind of
Hey, technically,
multitasking, but
Kaufman's
this
only working
kind
on one
is
book.
fine. This
I know
kind is fine.
Kaufman's only working on the one book and the 10 community projects for right now at any given time, and the editing projects and the life things.
See,
But that's all. It's only that.
you guys, I gotta give it to you guys. You guys know how to do it. I mean, yeah, you guys might maybe
Hello,
struggle with it a little bit.
I'm a multitasker. I like long walks along the beach, and I have a problem.
Hi, Kaufman.
Hi guys. Oh man, but you know what? I think that's also because I know myself well enough, at least up to this point in my life, where I know how I am with multitasking and I know what works well for me. And the truth is, not everybody's like that, right? And I think you have to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses and then figure out how do you play to them. I recognize that multitasking is a strength for me, so I'm able to balance multiple projects without losing the progress. Now the downside is because I take on multiple things, I end up taking much longer and then not finishing things in timelines that I would prefer. So I've learned over time that I've had to adjust my communication and my expectations to allow myself the freedom to breathe and not feel guilty about taking longer to do things. That's just a me thing. It's interesting.
I'll be brutally honest. My brain is just different, man. I mean, yeah, like I, I think I might try like when we go on a sprint. I might try actually working on a different book instead of the Raziel Chronicles. Yes, it may make me feel naked, but that's all right. We're okay with that. But I might try that to like maybe like give it a breather or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know. I've always in my life have strengths and weaknesses like we all do, but for some reason I feel more weaker with certain things than with others. Like I'm like a pro at, movie collection or playing games or whatever or writing certain stories, but weakness to certain multitasking or looking for places to live or something like that. It's a migraine sometimes. I wish I
It
wasn't
is,
like
and I
this.
think that's why I'm always the mindset: play to your strengths, but
Mm,
know your weaknesses. So that way
yeah,
you can improve on at least one thing at a time, even if
yeah.
whether it takes a day or 10 years.
10 years. I might not live that long, man.
It's gonna take too long to improve upon it.
I'll have to get bit by a vampire, man.
You know well, I think one of my biggest weaknesses as a writer is my description, my over descriptions.
Mm,
I feel way better where I'm at currently than where I used to be. Because if I look at my writing from 10 years ago, like I definitely improved a lot in my descriptions, but I still have that tendency to over describe. So I just continue to work on it and develop it, and we shall see.
like describe a setting or where someone
Yeah,
is?
I mean, I would do far too much description in in setting. We'll just say setting in general.
Yeah.
Whether that was the background or those characters, whether that's actions, interiority, just too much, and it was
See
just
that
too wordy.
that's kind of my problem too. These days is that I try to like add some of that, but then I'm like, what's too much to add to where people are like, okay, move on. But what's too small to be like, people are like, wait, what are you talking about, man? So it's kind of
Yeah, and
where's that perfect
I'll pose
balance?
this to the writing community. Do you, as a writer, if you're here in the live stream, welcome. We're just talking about over describing. Do you, as a writer, ever have a problem with over describing? Maybe use too many adjectives, too many characters, too much of a setting. We would love to hear. Drop a comment.
I use too many characters. I can say that right off the bat.
You don't use too many characters. All right, you use too many characters.
Yeah, no, I know I use too many. I read the first chapter of Age of Ash to my other writing group last week, and
They had the similar response to what I did on Critique Show, or was it different?
they wanted me to cut it down to like 3 characters
Mhm.
tops.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I can cut it down to the hatchlings and maybe 2 others, but unfortunately, too many characters are important in the first chapter that it's like only so much I can do
I
without
think I
actually, actively changing everything.
Yeah. I think I over describe things with settings. Too many characters, I'm okay with. I'm okay with not having too many characters, but with settings, I think I over describe on things like that.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's why, like, I think we recognize something that we need to improve at. I think that's where growth happens over time, right? And so this is something that I was very much intentional about whenever I embarked on a new story, was recognizing, like, okay, the one thing I know, right, maybe there's 10 things that I need to improve on. I'm definitely not perfect. I've just written a lot. But I think recognizing what's the list of all the things that as a writer that I could improve on. And then it's like, well, what's most important to me at this stage in my life? Improve over describing. So I think then for me, what's worked is whenever I embark on a new story, if I know over describing is a problem for me, then that's always the thing in the back of my mind. I was like, okay, I'm going to get better at that. How do I get better at that? When I introduce characters, when I introduce a scene, when I introduce whatever, I give myself a limit of how much I'm allowed to describe. Maybe that limit is a word count. Maybe it's a paragraph. Maybe it's a page count, whatever it is. I give myself limits knowing that that is a problem for me. Doesn't mean I'm going to get perfect at it, no, but it's just one step along the journey of trying to get better. And then eventually, then we get feedback from others, and that also helps give us feedback that is outside of our own brain that helps us improve.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think the over description one is an interesting one. So I wonder with your trilogy, if the thing that's holding you back, and it might not be, but I hear this from writers all the time who are working on series, of heightened expectations of ending it, of either heightened expectation of, okay, I'm worried about how it's going to end, or I've been on this journey. You've been on this journey for 20 something years, right? So you've been on the journey for 20 plus years. Doing the end of the trilogy is a finality. And once it's done, at least this part of the story.
Yeah, that might be it. Because I will admit, I didn't know it was going to be a trilogy until I really got into the last version of the first book. And then I'm like, okay, well, I still have like way too much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be able to fit this into one book. And then I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? And then I knew there was going to be a second one because there was an antagonist I wanted to use.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was still the major antagonist who hadn't even made an appearance really. And it's like, okay, well, I need to do a 3. So I'm just going to make it a trilogy. And I know how it's going to end. It's not quite as clear as the ending of the first one, because the ending of the first one, that was the first thing that I had planned. The only difference was just the details behind it. This one, I know what's going to happen at the end. Just trying to get there, and I didn't anticipate doing a dual point of view, which I'm not going to complain about that. I actually kind of like writing that, but it's I think some of my problem is just it's disorientating because I didn't have this issue in the second book so much because the characters did eventually meet up. These guys don't really meet up until midway through the book. And even then, they don't stay together for more than like 2 chapters. And they don't get back together until near the end. So it's almost like writing 2 different stories that are going on the same book.
That tells me that then for you, whereas crazy with what you're dealing with, yours is more a motivation thing. So it tells me that yours is more of a skill thing. I'm not saying a lack of skill. I'm saying because you're writing a different type of story structure. Different types of story structures means more work, more learning, and more work at the end of the day. Yeah. So when we think about, once again, it goes back to that same thing, more work. If I'm working on this, in the back of my mind, I don't want to do more work. I want writing to be fun.
One thing that's helped is I've been trying to write the chapters from one point of view all at once. And then splitting it up so that they're the odd number chapters. And then once I get part 1 done, I'm going to move on to the other point of view and do all of those chapters all at once and just almost act like I'm writing one story when I'm really not. And just, certain things can be referenced in the other chapters.
I was posting that conversation to the chat. But so what was that last bit you said? That was an example where Kaufman does not multitask well.
Basically, point of view 1, I'm writing all at once for part 1. And then once that's done, which I'm on the last chapter for that, point of view 2 is going to be written all at once and then split into the even number chapters. And part 1's going to be easy because they don't really reference each other. Part 2 is going to be a little more difficult because certain things are going to need to be mentioned that I probably haven't written yet. So you're right, it's more of a skill thing because I'm not used to writing something like this. The current fanfiction series I'm actually working on is actually helping with that a lot, to be honest. I have to reference other original characters and other things that happen in a story I've already written, but it's not quite the same way that Raging Inferno is going to be.
So it sounds like what you're doing is it sounds like you're trying something. It sounds like you're adjusting your writing process for the 3rd book to try to do it differently.
Yeah, and I didn't anticipate doing this with my fanfiction series, but I'm not going to lie, it's helping.
And I mean, for some writers, sometimes stepping into another project does help. For me, like with what I'm doing with Scarecrow, for me personally, it wouldn't help because I feel so motivated, like I have to get the book out. And for me, it doesn't become a deterrent. For me, it's a motivator, regardless of how challenging it can be at times. But I think every writer is different. I think being able to look ourselves in the mirror or look our characters in the eyes, one of the two, because we definitely do not talk to fictitious imaginary characters ever.
Speak for yourself.
Get out of here. But we definitely have some really, really great comments here. Let's see. I know Lynn said, I don't over describe, but I sometimes over elaborate in my scenes and include extra fun bits to each scenes that don't necessarily add to it. Okay. I think recognizing that. And I mean, maybe I think trying to find that balance is like, okay, so knowing if I do these things, right, like we can, of course, improve on them. But if we're going to get our books edited by someone, of course, they'll be able to, they'll usually catch those things. But the more we can improve on those elements, the less that person's going to charge. Because if we do less over describing, most editing is based on word count. Less over describing means less words, which means lower pricing generally for writers. Let's see, Marcella, yeah, fast forward to me writing it as a graphic novel, knowing my readers will literally see them exactly as I do, has been so freeing. I still write too many characters, though. Sounds like Marcella struggles with the same thing as you do. So with too many characters. I don't over-describe them, but I still have them talk way too much sometimes. I just keep reminding myself a little goes a long way. And I actually see that as a consistent. I think a lot of writers do that because, and this goes kind of into that show versus tell conversation of, in my head, I need to get this thing across to the reader. So I feel like when I'm drafting something, the only way to get it across is spell it out for the reader on the page. But subtext. And I think sometimes through the revising process, it takes time to be able to build that subtext into the conversations, the elements that the reader's like, okay, when the character says they're happy with this thing, but if you use the action that they're eye rolling and then they're holding the knife behind their back, you know they're not happy about the thing. So I think being able to rely on interiority, action, and subtext is key. Some writers figure it out naturally. Some writers have to practice at it. So I think that's really interesting. But I think this is an absolutely phenomenal conversation. So hopefully let's use this to push ourselves into a writing sprint. Let's see, I realize I actually have to get the background set up. In a perfect world, Kaufman is always prepared.
Another
Okay.
dimension, Kaufman is president.
Kaufman as president. Okay, so for those of you who are here in the stream right now, we'll do a really quick call out. We'll do a really quick shout out. So for those of you who are just dropping in, welcome. We're going to hop into a writing sprint really quick. But first, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, tap that subscribe button. We're here every day with the Right Now community, 700 consecutive streams and counting. If you're looking for writing workshops, conferences, fiction contests, or anything to just help you stay motivated the next time you don't feel like writing, then this is the place to do it. We got writers of all genres and all skill levels. So tap that subscribe button and you'll be alerted when we go live. All right, so I got that and I almost had it. I was like, okay, so where are we at on time? 42, 30. Okay, so we'll do 2 sprints. I think we'll start the first one off at a 30-minute sprint. And we'll see how we feel after that one. So that way we can check in with each other and see how sprint number 1 went. All right, and I think I feel pretty good with that. All right, perfect. And here we go. So I'm all queued up on my end. I just got to do the screen share. Oh, all right. Kaufman was almost prepared for this, and he was not. I was like, okay. Well, I'm getting this set up. What are you guys going to work on?
Working on a fan fiction. Trying to do the prologue for it.
I have no idea.
Okay, that works.
Emma has no idea. No.
All right, and I think we got this. Okay, so I am all set up on my end. Let's get a sprint. Let's try to get a little bit of writing done, and let's see just what we can accomplish. I believe in us, whether we're working on our main project or something else in between. We got 30 minutes queued up on the clock, whether you're writing, editing, brainstorming, revising, or maybe you're just procrastinating. Come join us because it's time to write now. All right. How did that writing sprint treat you? Were you hopefully able to make some progress as we pushed into our whatever we were working on today, whether that was our main project or something else in between? What did you do? What progress did you make? Did you get some words, some ideas, or hopefully something else? I am doing some editing. So I got some feedback for this one chapter I'm working on, and I'm making some edits to it. Yeah, I think I feel pretty good about this. Might need you guys' feedback on this one paragraph, but I would love to see how did that sprint treat you guys?
I finished my prologue and kind of have an idea for the next couple of chapters.
Nice. Sounds like you made some good progress. Was this for the fan fiction? So which one were you on?
So this is for a fanfiction series called Hands That Decide, and I'm kind of just doing the prologue in the first couple of chapters for one of them to see mainly, is this going to fit in with the Cost of Conscience, or is this going to be like after that? And if it's during the same time, is this character going to interact with the other character in any way?
Okay, I mean that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a nice start. What's the fan fiction based off of?
This is a One Piece one, and the general theme of all of these, the 5 stories within this series are people pushed into situations that they never would have gone into themselves. Osa is actually the first story. He was pushed into the Marines and pushed into Cypherpole. The first decision he ever made on his own, no, it was not a good one, and somebody said no. Civ's story is pretty much the same, forced in the Marines as a boy, and has to basically fight his own moral compass the entire time. And then this one is defective by design. For people who are familiar with One Piece, I'm working with something called a seraphim, and basically it's a artificially created being. So this guy didn't even ask to be created.
That's kind of cool, actually.
It's interesting because I get to learn so much about them, and we know hardly anything.
What about you, Crazy?
First off, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Okay. Can Kaufman hear me?
I'm not hearing Crazy. Are you hearing? Might just be my computer.
Yeah, I'm hearing him just fine.
All right, 1 second.
I'll wait.
There we go. I don't know why you do that sometimes. Crazy, what were you saying?
Okay. I was saying that I could not help myself. I looked at the Rosio Chronicles where I was before, and because I couldn't help myself, I wanted to see where I was. If I was still too far away from the getting done with the first part, I'd go ahead and start on a different book. But I saw that I was actually so close to finishing the first part. So I went ahead and
challenge.
did it.
Like, I gotta finish it.
So I went ahead and did it, and went ahead and started with the second part.
Nice. That sounds like some good progress, actually. That's awesome. Great. Nice push.
Yes.
It looks like we all made some progress here. Let's see. Lynn, 378 words. Marcella, 441 words that I've actually been writing all day, so I might have combined some from my last day. You're a little ahead of some of us, Marcella. Sounds like it's been a very productive day for you. That's where I need to be. Where did I get? I had to deal with something at the beginning of the sprint, so I think I only got to use about half the time. Probably got through about a page, give or take, of editing, revising editing notes. Yeah, but it sounds like you guys all made some progress. So that's actually really, really cool. Let's see.
I got about 761 words done.
Dang, that's nice. That's really, really nice, Crazy. You pushed like way ahead of me. Good for you.
Just gotta believe in the heart of the words.
Believe in the heart of the cards.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, that's awesome. Let me think. I feel like we're actually on a good vibe today. I could use your guys' feedback on this one paragraph.
Go ahead.
I just want to know what visualization you guys get from it. I'm asking myself if it's clear enough. That is not what I want. All right, tell me what you guys think. Oh, I lost my screen share. Tell me what you guys think of this paragraph and what comes to mind. Welcome, weary travelers, greeted a whimsically pedal-soft voice from ground level. Scarecrow backed up. Rising from the ground before them was a vibrant sunflower, lilting petals the colors of honey, morning dew, and crimson twilight. Elongated petals formed eyes, and golden disc-like pupils offered a sense of regal beauty. A stem twisted into 2 hands and legs, but the ever-flowing nature suggested this was mutable.
I like that.
What visualization? What do you guys see when you hear that?
Definitely picturing a sunflower, kind of a not exactly a humanized sunflower, but oh god, what? There's actually like an old cartoon that I'm thinking of where sunflowers actually seemed somewhere in between human and flower. I'm trying to think of it, but it's very easy to picture though.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually want to draw that.
Quick question. How many eyes does it have? Or
That's a good
is
question.
it all petals? Is it all the petals that have eyes?
Oh, that's actually a good point. I didn't distinguish that. I had given it 2 eyes. In my mind, I had said 2 eyes, but I didn't actually distinguish that.
Okay.
Elongated petals formed 2 eyes. That I should clarify. That's a good call out.
Okay.
Elongated
I wasn't
petals.
quite sure.
No, you're right.
I was picturing.
Yep.
I was picturing some kind of Hellboy looking freak show going on
With like 10 eyes.
with like eyes all the way around going on, man. I was like, yo, what kind of flower is this?
I appreciate that. I kind of envision this this character as how big do you guys think this flower is? Do you guys envision it like the size of a flower or bigger? Do you guys think
I imagine it the size of a sunflower, and I mean, I know sunflowers can be kind of small, but I'm usually, and this is just a personal thing, I usually see them about 4 to 5 feet.
So, do you guys think it's important to distinguish the size?
It depends on how you see it. Do you see it as a normal flower size, or do you see it as like gigantic? Because I too see it as like a normal flower size.
And that's how I always envisioned it. I envisioned it as a normal flower size, but, and I want to know if this comes across, where it's vines, which basically form its like legs and really it's a stem usually, right? But then it can change into its like legs, hands. Basically, because it's attached to the ground, it can basically raise and like move and maneuver. So that way it can basically move anywhere almost at any time because it's vines.
So if you're having like maybe a scene of it like either pointing the way or something, are you gonna like have it grow and so it can really point which way to go, or how are you gonna do that? Or are you just gonna leave it as is?
I kind of have it lowering and adjusting. So I do a couple of different actions in the chapter where I have it heighten and then lower to different heights.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good.
I was wondering if that was suggested enough with just this paragraph alone.
I mean, other than the eyes, it looks fine. Other than the either 2 eyes or many, it's fine now.
Yeah.
It was just the eyes that caught me off guard.
Cool. Well, thanks for that feedback. I appreciate it. It's in the shape of a toadstool mushroom. Megan guessed it. Megan, you got it right on the head.
Scarecrow has to eat it now to grow big.
Oh man, yeah. It's always interesting with like character descriptions. I like ask myself the same thing from when I introduced. Actually, anytime I introduce a character, I really try to make the one I don't try to give character descriptions too many paragraphs. I really try to make it a major, like a single major paragraph that gives you a clear visualization of what the character looks like. Do you guys usually spend a lot of time on character setups when you're first introducing a character?
Depends on the character.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Either, what kind of hair, what color eyes, that's about it.
Mhm.
Like Soul said, it depends on the character.
I
Yeah.
usually try to, if the character is going to appear more than once, I try to give more or less the bare minimum of description. And then if the character is more important, I usually add a bit more, but it's, at least I hope it doesn't ever go on too long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I think about like the major characters, and I think it's interesting because I still think I only give them like a 1 to 2 paragraph setup because I know they're like actions and character will be explored through the story.
That just about comes all the way back around to over describing.
Back to over describing. But then in the middle of the story, when I've introduced 30 to 40 different animals, and they're all supposed to be minor parts of the world, I think I only give each of them maybe a sentence description, if any.
That's fair.
And I still don't know if that part of the book's. I mean, I hope the part of the book works. I guess we'll find out. I'm like, that's like the part of the book that I'm the most nervous about. I'm like, I hope readers are able to keep track of 1,000 animals that are going through there. Oh man, but I feel like I'm in definitely a really great writing vibe and mood. So let's push in to our next writing sprint. I believe in us. We'll do another 30 minutes on the clock. Sounds like we were all super productive with writing sprint number 1. So let's push. Let's get some more words in, and let's see just what we can accomplish.
Yay!
Exactly what was on my mind. So we got that, and I think we are all set. So whether you are writing, editing, revising, author branding, or something else in between, come join us because it's time to write now.
Yeah!
All right, and that was the writing sprint. The second one, how did that treat you? Were you able to make a push that time? I feel like, for me personally, that second sprint, I got a lot. I feel like I was very, very well accomplished. Um, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I made some slight adjustments to that paragraph. I'll read it for you guys in a second, but I think it sounds better. I'm really trying to make sure all my character setups are very on point because I want the reader to have a clear depiction. But how about you guys? Were you guys able to make some good progress that time?
Mm-hmm. I got a small amount. This time around is more research than actually writing, just to make sure that I have the timeline set up right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It sounds like you were able to be proactive with that part.
I almost had a brain fart.
For some reason, Crazy it mutes you. It's probably just on my end. I don't know why.
Yeah, I heard him fine.
Oh, okay. I will wait again.
I think his computer just doesn't like you.
Apparently, because I feel like I'm the only one that this happens to.
Crazy.
It's happened to me in the past a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Something with the EVMux platform. But now I can hear you, Crazy.
Yay! I mean, anyway, I honestly there for a bit I had a brain fart. Like I was doing fine writing the paragraph, and then suddenly I had to take a look back. I looked at it. I was like, nah, this ain't making sense, man. You're kind of losing me here. So I erased it all and was like, okay, let's think of this. And then once I really thought of what I was gonna do, I was like, got it, and I started writing. It was basically just adding a detail I've never written before in the original, and I wrote that Raziel has a bit of a flashback of when he met the demon known as Johnny, and it's gonna be like the actual first time we actually ever get to see Johnny, the evil demon that likes to really trick people and screw everybody up.
That sounds like fun.
Trust me, Raziel is kind of like, who the heck are you? Where have you come from? What are you talking about? And right now, where I have it as Johnny's kind of making him like, hey, I know you want to be better than your dad, and I could help you with that if you let me.
Sounds so great. I'm definitely looking forward to reading both your stories. I definitely really feel that I need to figure out in my life how to read more. If you guys have audiobooks is I do well with audio.
I will remember that.
So when will audiobooks of the audiobook of the first Pirates come out?
I need to do that.
Like 2027.
Probably after I get Raging Inferno done. I'll look into the doing the audio for the first one.
That'd be super cool. I feel because I always want to read everyone's stories in the community. I think we started to make a good push with our book club originally, but I always feel like I'm already struggling to figure out how to read just in general, or read more just in general with my schedule. What are you gonna do? Awesome, and it looks like we got some good progress here in the chat. Lynn, it looks like you said about 300 words. Devin, working on your newsletter. Newsletters are always fun. Hopefully we all have a newsletter. So important in this day and age. Let's see, with the new books, updating as necessary. Agreed. Absolutely agreed with that. Marcella, about 241 words. The words are really flowing today. It's great, especially since I've had a bit of a writing dry spell the last few days. Whenever we just come out of a writing dry spell, I think when we're feeling super creative, we just have to stick with that momentum and push as long as possible. So that's really awesome, Marcella. Hopefully all of us can continue to pick up off that energy and push into the next couple of weeks and end off 2025 strong. So that's my goal. Yeah, I think that was a question to you, Crazy. How do you spell Raziel?
Just like it is spelled right
It
now.
is that
right
same
there.
spelling. I
Yes.
think Raziel is a really cool name, by the way. I was like, I don't think I know any.
Well, I got the names of Raziel and Cain, both from a video game of Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver, and stuff. I got
Okay.
those names from those two characters because I really love those games. So I was like, let's base these characters' names off of them.
Well, I think that's great because they're non-traditional names. So it means that when you go a non-traditional name like that, it's a little more likely to be more memorable. I think you only get lost with non-traditional names if all of your names in a book are kind of out there, because then it makes it hard for the reader to remember all the names.
Yeah.
So I feel like naming structure is finding like a good balance. You don't want a story full of Bobs unless the story is about the attack of the Bobs.
There was and Kaufman, I know you know this because we talked about it on my first stream on my channel. That coming up with names is kind of difficult for me, especially with one of the characters named Angel. That's his actual name, but he picked the name Brad, and because I didn't know what other name for him to pretend who he is. But Brad, I thought of from Home Improvement. So I was like, okay, sure, go with Brad. I don't care. I'll probably fix it, but for now, I don't care. I don't know. Ooh.
I know. I see that. It just goes to show literally how much the names and how much things evolve over time. I think some people are really good with finding names, and others kind of struggle with it. I mean, Crazy, I like resonate with you because I've struggled. I wouldn't say struggled, but I've gone back and forth with names for Scarecrow. My like resounding question to myself has been, in a world where everyone's losing their memories, who actually remembers their name, and then who do I just refer to as the animal? So that's that like constant balance that I've like asked myself, but it plays into it because the world's people are losing their memories. But I don't know which ones I should refer to animals, which ones I should refer to creatures. I mean, Scarecrow is called Scarecrow, but ultimately is that his actual name?
And like I think, like I said, I think it's been about 2 or 3 weeks now. Like I said, that when I come up with names or whatever, a lot of times they're based on things I've seen on media, like Raziel, Kane, Brad,
Makes sense.
and stuff like that. There's only probably 1 or 2 people that are actually named after people I personally know. But other than that, it's mostly from media.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. But I mean, names is always a great conversation, but I feel like we were able to accomplish and achieve some absolutely great progress. I feel like we've actually had some really, really great conversations today. Crazy chat soul as always. I appreciate you for joining. 76 meetings and many, many more to come. So thank you all for joining us today for our writers group. It's been great. We got some talks. If you hopped in late, make sure to watch the replay. We definitely had a really, really powerful conversation in the beginning, and I feel even more motivated than ever. I actually kind of want to keep working. I might push myself after the stream because I'm actually on a good flow state right now. But thank you all for joining. It has been a great conversation. Don't forget, we'll be back every Wednesday, 4 Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, your virtual writers group that you didn't know that you need. So make sure to come back. I will be back tomorrow with another daily writing sprint stream. Time TBD. We'll see how I feel tomorrow. So we'll do it at some point. But everyone, thank you for joining us. And most importantly, if you enjoyed the stream, tap that like button. Help us show the algorithm that writing streams are cool. All right, my friends, that's all that I got for you this week. I'm Kaufman.
Chat soul.
My name is Crazy.
And we'll catch you on the next stream. Take care, friends. Stories are forever. I'm Kaufman, and I'll catch you on the morrow. Stay creative, writers. It's time to write
now.
Sorry.
Right now, not right now, but right now. Read now, right now.